Today on the Bandrew Says podcast, we'll be discussing TikTok potentially being banned in the United States, YouTube automatically adding mid-roll ads, and a whole lot more, so go ahead and stick around. Let's start with TikTok potentially being banned in the United States. Now, this is not guaranteed, it is not set in stone, but there have been rumblings about TikTok being banned in the US. There are politicians and political advisors discussing this, and we have also seen some corporations send out requests to their employees to delete TikTok from their phones if they are company phones. Those would be Amazon, which did send out this request, and then came out and said, oh no, we sent that in error. And then there was also Wells Fargo that requested employees delete TikTok from their work phone as well. Now, the justification that has been given for this discussion is that TikTok was found spying on their users, and what I was able to locate about this was the capturing of data that is on your clipboard, on your phone. What that is when you go into an app and select copy and you go somewhere else to paste it, that information is stored in your clipboard. And TikTok's app was accessing that information, and I don't know exactly what they were doing with it, but they were capturing that data regardless. Now, you may be thinking, what's the big deal with that? I just copy URLs to YouTube videos and share them with my friends. There is a much more nefarious potential use for that. A lot of people use password managers, and the way that you use those is you open up the password app, you copy the password that is created for you, and you paste it in the app that you are going to log into or the website you're logging into. That information is still stored in the clipboard. So if you have a password stored in your clipboard and you are somebody who does not use a unique password for every single service and app and website that you log into, now TikTok would have access to your password that is used on multiple accounts, giving them the ability to log into your accounts. I'm not 100% sure if there is other speculation about how TikTok is spying. I was able to find a Forbes article detailing how TikTok was capturing this information, and I will link that in the episode notes if you want to read a little bit more about this. But what's more interesting to me besides the fact that TikTok was capturing clipboard data is how this affects you and how you can mitigate any kind of damage that can be done to you by TikTok potentially being banned. I have been screaming about this for years at this point. If you listen to this show and you still don't do this, I don't know what else I can do. You need to own your own space on the internet. What that boils down to is having your own website and having your own domain. Then when somebody says, hey, I would love to know what you do, where can I find it? Instead of saying, go to youtube.com/podcastage, go to twitter.com/podcastage, respond with, go to podcastage.com. I have links to everything that I work on there. You can find all of my social medias and follow me at those places. But go to podcastage.com to find that information. What this accomplishes is it makes it so you are no longer advertising and promoting these social media apps. They don't need your freaking help. They are plenty big enough as they are. They don't need you going around saying, hey, Twitter, go check out Twitter. They don't need that. You should not be doing that. You should be doing, hey, go check out Podcastage. Go check out the thing that I made. Go check out my stuff, podcastage.com. It not only does that, but now if TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube disappears overnight, they get deleted, or if you do something stupid and you get banned, people still have a place where they know how to find you. Now, you cannot just set up this domain and website and be done there. You need to actively remind people that it exists and create content that is exclusive to that website or add some value to what you're doing so it drives people there, so people have a reason to visit that website. The way that I do this with podcastage.com is by uploading a much higher resolution recording than is uploaded to YouTube. It doesn't have the YouTube compression, so if somebody wants to listen to the high quality recording, they can go to podcastage.com And on many of the reviews, there is that higher quality recording. And if it's not there, they can send me an email and I have all of the original video files. I can upload that. And in most cases, it will be that higher quality. So that is how I do it. That's what I think every single person on TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, wherever you're creating content should be doing. You should all have your own website. You should all have your own domain. And instead of saying, go check me out on twitch.tv/podcastage, go check me out on mixer.com/podcastage, say, go to podcastage.com. I have links to everything. Then if you do disappear, people have had this burned into their brain. Oh, I go to podcastage.com. Where can I find their content now? Because Mixer doesn't exist anymore. Because TikTok is banned. Where do I get this information? Now they know because you have told people where to find you. Now, I want to go on somewhat of a tangent here on the note of TikTok and Facebook also, but I want you to ask yourself, are the statistics that I am seeing on my content authentic? The reason I'm bringing this up is it seems to me like the stats on TikTok are quite inflated. I don't think people are actually getting 1 billion views on a video or 500 million views on a video. I don't think that is accurate. I said the exact same thing when Facebook started doing videos and we saw people getting hundreds of millions of views. As soon as that occurred, in my brain, I thought, oh, I bet they are counting somebody scrolling through the timeline and seeing 1 second of video without the audio on as a view. And if they are doing that, that is misleading and that is inflated. And with those inflated numbers, you can now go to an advertiser and say, hey, look, I got 100 million views on a video. Give me monies, please. Monies, I want monies. Give it to me. And then that advertiser sees terrible performance on their ad and they get pissed off at you. So I think it's incredibly important to understand how views are calculated, how the impressions are calculated, especially when we saw that with Facebook. I think there was even a lawsuit against Facebook. And I think the same thing could potentially happen with TikTok. And if you are on TikTok and you're getting a lot of views and you have a lot of followers or whatever they are called on TikTok, I want you to ask yourself, does that translate to anything else? Are the viewers and followers on TikTok translating over to Twitter? Am I able to translate those to views on my website? Where are all these views and followers? Are they following me anywhere else, or are they just following me on TikTok? And if they are just following you on TikTok and you can't get them anywhere else on any other platform, on any other website that you have, what good is it? What good is it? Because if TikTok disappears, now your entire following disappears. Is it possible that the views and followers are fake? The comments are fake? I don't know. To me, that seems like a pretty logical step to make to get people to use your platform. And of course, I do need to say this is all speculation, but to me, it makes perfect sense. If you want to grow a service and you don't have that initial user base, inflating those numbers and dropping in some bots to create some engagement may be what it takes to get a new service off the ground. That's all I'm saying. I'm putting out a little conspiracy theory out there. Enjoy that one. So if you are on TikTok, if you were on Mixer, if you're on Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, anywhere, and you are trying to make a business out of what you are doing, do not rely solely on these platforms. Create a place online that you own that is much more difficult for you to be deplatformed from, and that is much more difficult and much less likely to disappear overnight because it exists to provide people a service and they are paying for that service. Facebook is not getting paid by you to provide their service. You are the product. If you have a Wix page or a domain hosting page or whatever, you are giving that company money. They are funded through you using that service. Facebook is not. They are at the whims of advertisers. YouTube is not. They are at the whims of the advertisers. TikTok is not. They are at the whims of I don't know what. I've never used TikTok. It seems horrible to me. Have your own platform, have your own website, create your own existence online, and let people know where they can find you. That's my advice to you. Please do it because we've seen two platforms essentially fail this month: Mixer and potentially TikTok. Next, I want to talk about an email that came out from YouTube this last week. YouTube is going to be automatically adding mid-roll ads to all videos that are monetized that are over 8 minutes long. The email came on July 7th, and it read, "Hi there, you're receiving this email because we are making some changes to mid-roll ads that will impact your channel. These changes will make more videos eligible for mid-roll ads to increase your monetization potential. Today, only videos longer than 10 minutes are eligible for mid-roll ads. Starting in late July, all videos longer than 8 minutes will be eligible for mid-roll ads. As part of this change, we will turn on mid-roll ads for all eligible videos. This means videos where you may have opted out of mid-roll ads will now be opted in. Videos that already have mid-roll ads will not be impacted. Future uploads from monetizing channels will also have mid-roll ads turned on by default." Turning on auto mid-roll ads saves creators extra work while helping increase the monetization potential for new and existing content. We use machine learning to automatically find the most natural breaks in your video to increase monetization potential while balancing user experience. If mid-roll ads are not a good fit for your videos, you can indicate this preference in the YouTube Studio by July 27th, 2020. If you have not used mid-roll ads before, give it a try. After these changes, you will still be able to turn mid-rolls off or adjust the placement in each video manually. For more information on these changes and mid-roll ads, you can visit the Help Center here. So at the time of release of this episode, you have 2 more weeks to make the change in the YouTube Studio to ensure that YouTube doesn't add mid-rolls to all of your videos, which could be bad. In my videos, a lot of the times I have a countdown saying audio gets loud in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The algorithm may view that as, hey, they're not talking. Let's put an ad here. And then audio gets loud in 5, 4. Hey, welcome to an advertisement. And that would be a terrible experience. I have gone in and made sure that I have clicked do not add advertisements in the middle of my videos. It is not correct for my content. So I am foregoing all of that revenue for the viewing experience of you. I saw a tweet string between the creator Midrolls and YouTube creators, or Team YouTube rather. And Team YouTube was explaining how to go about doing this, and I will also include an example that I did when I was making the selection on my channels. On July 8th, Team YouTube said, "Definitely don't want this to be a surprise. We're also notifying creators directly in Studio. We've been working to update auto mid-rolls to be less annoying for viewers and still provide the monetization opportunity for creators, but understand if they're not right for you." Here's exactly how to opt out. Go to your channel monetization page. In the gray banner, there's a drop-down called Actions. Select Open Preferences and choose I will individually review. The instructions that Team YouTube provided were pretty clear, but I wanted to make it abundantly clear, so I recorded a screen sharing thing of me going in and doing this. You go into YouTube Studio. On the left-hand side, you will click Monetization in the menu. Then there is this gray banner that's informing you of this update. You will click the drop-down, select Actions, and then Update Preferences. And then if you want to bypass this update, you will select I will individually review videos for mid-roll advertisements. It's that simple, and hopefully there are no screw-ups here where YouTube just puts mid-rolls on everything, regardless of the selection. I am sure there will be some screw-ups, but fingers crossed, it's not that bad. Why are they doing this, though? I am sure people are wondering, why are they doing this? Monies. Give us monies. Monies now, please. Think about it. How many videos are on YouTube where somebody uploaded it, they got a lot of views, they got a lot of subscribers, they have revenue or they have advertising turned on, but they don't actively sign in and check their account? If YouTube made this manual, there would be a boatload of videos that did not have mid-roll ads added to them, so YouTube would be foregoing boatloads of money. They are doing it automatically to ensure that all the videos that are monetized where the creator no longer uses the platform gets these additional ads. And they do give you a pretty easy way to opt out of this, so I am not as offended as a lot of people have been by this. I don't think it's a huge issue. I understand exactly why they are making it automatic. It makes perfect sense. They don't want to make it manual because then they would be throwing a bunch of money down the drain by letting these videos exist, taking up bandwidth, costing them money, and they would not be getting any additional money for it. That is why they are doing it. I've seen some creators say, yay, more money, more advertisements, more monies, please. But I've also seen other creators say, no, that's stupid. I'm not going to do it. It doesn't fit my content. It seems sleazy. I don't care. I don't care what you do. I'm not going to put mid-rolls on my videos because I think it provides a very bad viewing experience for the viewer. And I know right now, people already hate ads, and they are on the verge of already turning on ad block, which means you get nothing. You get no views. You get no monetization from those viewers. So if you just shove a billion ads in your videos, if you have a mid-roll here, sure, you may have 5 people who watch all of them, but you're going to put such a bad taste in people's mouth that they are going to say, no, ad block, see ya, and you won't get any money. So there you go. That is the update to YouTube's mid-roll ad rollout thing. Now you can monetize with mid-rolls at 8 minutes and up. You have a very easy option on how to disable the automatic mid-rolls. Hopefully, it works out for you, whatever you choose to do. That is it for the news. Now let's jump to what you had to say. And the first comment comes from Dick, and he says, I want to come back to the giving your listeners the best audio quality argument. I agree with reservations. When I worked at ABC, I would often disable automatic gain control and set gain manually for cleaner audio. I think it's a valid argument that we should go for the best. But best doesn't always mean the absence of any other noises. For example, I have been trying to interview a guy and could only do so outdoors, so I have the sounds of the forest, chirping birds, and an occasional car in the distant background. To give the podcast a more natural sound, I recorded my portions outdoor as well for an on-location feel. I did not have any obtrusive or loud sounds, of course, but sometimes a natural on-location sound that is clean can work without being annoying. Dick, thank you very much for that comment, and that is an excellent point, and that is something that a lot of radio hosts and radio programs use to great success. You hear that a lot in NPR and a lot of very highly produced segments where they go out on the street and they interview people in a specific environment. You could do everything in your power to remove the street noise or the forest noise, but then it sounds a little bit inauthentic. By introducing the segment and saying, we're going to the street to find out what citizens think, that is setting the idea that you are going out into the real world. And having that background noise creates context. It creates an environment for that interview to be occurring, and it makes it seem much more real, much more authentic. So I agree with you 100%, and matching your audio is also a great example that you have. If you have dead audio, no noise, no reverb, no nothing, and then you have a guest on that sounds not terrible, but they have a lot of background noise, a lot of birds chirping, a lot of forest sounds, that could be very jarring, going back from your audio, which is dead and dry, to a forest wide open sound with a bunch of background noise. So by matching your audio, it makes it a much more natural transition from you, the host, to the guest. So I think that is a very great point. I appreciate you sharing your expertise with us. Thank you very much, Dick. Next, we got a comment from Alex, and he says, since you like conspiracy so much, I'll share this with you. Sticks out tongue. A common misconception states that, faced with the fact that the ballpoint pen would not write in zero gravity, the Fisher Space Pen was devised as the result of millions of dollars of unnecessary spending on NASA's part when the Soviet Union took the simpler and cheaper route of just using pencils. In reality, the Space Pen was independently developed by Paul C. Fisher, founder of the Fisher Space Pen Company, with $1 million of his own funds. NASA tested and approved the pen for space use, then purchased 400 pens at $6 per pen. The Soviet Union subsequently also purchased the Space Pen for its Soyuz space flights. Alex, thank you very much for sending me this information from the Writing in Space Wikipedia page. I appreciate you, but curse you at the same time, because now I have lost that extremely fun anecdote. But gosh darn it, if that is not some great fiscal responsibility. Instead of spending millions of dollars developing the Fisher Space Pen, they spent, how much would that be? $2,400? That's so much better. On one side, I am upset that I no longer have that anecdote, but on the other hand, I am extremely thrilled to learn that the US government did not frivolously spend $1 million developing this pen. They just spent $2,400 acquiring them. Alex, thank you very much for that. I appreciate you. Lastly, we have a comment from Bang's Naughty Bits, which is the moderator or the owner of the podcasting or podcasts subreddit. I apologize, Bangs. I always forget there's so many freaking podcast subreddits. He says, the answer to what makes a studio mic is easy. It says so on the box. Duh! In truth, mics are customized to do different things. Stage mics may sacrifice perfect reproduction of the audio to get a solid reproduction in a feedback-prone, electrically noisy, and just loud environment. A studio mic might accept a wider cardioid pattern and less background rejection to get an extended frequency response and to be very reproducible across different mics. Boom mics isolate at the cost of loss of fidelity, oversensitivity, and sometimes potential phase issues. It depends on what you want. And just remember, the Shure SM58 is one of the world's most popular stage mics, and the SM in its name stands for Studio Microphone. Who'da thunk? Use what you think makes you sound like you, and if that means your lucky mic, go with it. Bangs, thank you very much for this comment. I agree with pretty much everything that you have stated, but I really want to drive home the point that you end with. Use what you think makes you sound like you. And if that means your lucky mic, go with it. That is all that really matters when selecting a microphone. What works best for you? Who cares what the labels are? Who cares if everybody else says you're crazy for using that microphone? What matters is you like the sound that it is creating. You like the sound that it is capturing in your environment. You like the way that it makes you sound. That is the most important aspect, and as long as it is not providing your listeners or viewers with a bad experience, go forth and rock and roll. Bangs, thank you very much again, and now let us jump to my favorite part of the show, the Ask Bandrew segment. Alrighty, welcome to the Ask Bandrew segment. If you have any questions that you want answered, you can go to askbandrew.com. There are instructions on how to send in audio and video submissions, as well as send in a text-based question. I do prefer audio and video because then I don't have to read, and we get to hear your amazing, lovely voices on this show, and y'all get a break from me. So askbandrew.com. First up, we have a video submission, so go ahead and take it away.
Hey Bandrew, this is Greg Geezer. How's you keeping? My question for you was, say I'm utilising the HyperX Cloud 2s with its virtual surround sound that's wee USB dongle, but I'm also using the Rode NT1A microphone with a Scarlett Solo. Now with the Scarlett Solo, the direct monitoring is exclusive to mono. With the 2i2, I believe there is a button for stereo or mono. But I'm wondering, is there anything at all out there that can let me use 7.1 surround sound for that crystal clear clarity and spatial awareness, and also use direct monitoring to hear my vocals back clearly? I am pulling out my gigantic hair trying to figure this out, and I'm very, very sorry if it's a stupid question to ask, and if stereo is the actual just limit of what you can hear back whilst also utilizing direct monitoring. Love the podcast, love the show, love all the reviews, big fan. Thanks very much for all your work, really appreciate it. Hope you're keeping well.
Thank you so much for sending in that video submission. So the question is there any way to get 7.1 surround sound while also getting direct monitoring? Here is my initial thoughts on this process, and I do not know if this will work because I was not able to find my Cloud 2 USB 7.1 digital surround sound thing, so I wasn't able to test this. The 7.1 USB dongle thing has a 3.5 millimeter TRRS output, if I am remembering correctly. Your Focusrite has a 1/4 inch stereo output for the headphones. So here is what I am thinking. I would take a 1/4 inch TRS male cable to 3.5 millimeter TRS female cable, plug that into the Focusrite. Then I would have my 7.1 surround sound USB dongle plugged into my computer. Then I would get a dual TRS or TRRS 3.5 millimeter male cable to a single 3.5 millimeter female adapter. So essentially, I would be plugging in the male portions of this cable to the 7.1 surround sound and the Focusrite, and then I would be aggregating them or down mixing them to a single output. Then I would plug in my headphones to that female portion of that adapter and see if that works. In my head, this seems like it would work. I don't know exactly how they are accomplishing that 7.1 surround sound digitally. Maybe it would be lost by going from a TRS to TRS as opposed to TRRS. I don't know how they're accomplishing it, but that's my thought process. You're getting the output from that adapter with one cable, and you're getting the mono output from your Focusrite on the other cable, down mixed to your single pair of headphones, and then the Focusrite isn't getting jammed through that 7.1 surround sound as well, screwing it up. But let me know if this works for you, if you decide to go this route, or if you found another solution, because I know this is 1.5 months old. And if anybody listening or watching has a suggestion here, leave it in the comments on YouTube. Let me know what you think would be a good solution to this issue, to get 7.1 surround from the Cloud 2 adapter, as well as getting the mono monitoring from the Focusrite. Let me know in the comments down below. Next, we got a submission from Ian from Berlin. Take it away, Ian.
Absolutely shocking that the manly reference mic is actually its name. When I look at the mic and its price, I think dick. If you have to beep that, it's up to you. Although, truth be told, dick in isolation is not necessarily a bad thing. In COVID context, of course. Hi, my name is Ian from the English Coach Podcast, an audio show mostly for learners of English as a second language, and I'm sending this in from Berlin, Germany. I am honored to be able to ask you this personally, Mr. Mike and Mr. Music. I am loving the style, and I especially like what you're doing with mics. It's really helped me to make an informed decision based on my specific recording environment and my specific recording needs. There are many subjective aspects, I think, ranging from personal sense of style and appearance in videos, for example, to discussions on whether ambient noise can actually add an air of authenticity to sound. Right now I use a condenser, but I'm convinced that if direct sound is what it's all about, a nicely sound-treated environment together with a little mic technique will make almost any mic unpainful and therefore usable for an audio podcast. You, if anyone, qualify to correct me in this case if I'm wrong. That said, my question to you today has to do with sound processing. My workflow started out in December 2019, I think it was, with a mix of noise reduction, limiting, compression, EQ, bass roll-off, and then some normalization at the end. Now I've simplified it to maybe just a little noise reduction, light compression, EQ, and normalization at the end. I just want to know if there's a particular order in which you do all these adjustments to a sound file. Yes, do you have to start with noise reduction, or can you do it at the end? Limiting, where in the process do you do it? Does it have to be before equalization, for example? It would be really helpful if you could just help me with that. How would you suggest to someone like me just starting out what processing steps should I start with and how I should progress through this workflow. Yes, what can I do to a sound file, in what order? What would you recommend? Now, I notice also that you are touching a little bit on the politics thing. As someone who's been listening to you for a while, I would recommend that you leave it alone. It's a nasty thing. I mean, the thing is, politics is basically human behavior. Yes, that's what I think. However, power and politics serve themselves, not people. On the topic of freedom of speech, I like what you said about responsibility. So in adding to that, I'd probably say, think about freedom after speech. And on politics, I would probably exit with a statement like, I am for equality, full stop. Anyway, thanks again. I hope this makes it onto the show. Thanks again for the good work, and I wish you all the best in what you're doing.
Ian, thank you so much for sending in that voice submission. What an excellent, excellent question. I appreciate the kind words, and you sound excellent. Let's talk about the order of operations for processing. What order should you put them in? You did mention that currently you're doing noise reduction, into compression, then into EQ, and then into normalization. I will start by saying there are no set rules here. You can do whatever the hell you want. See how it sounds. If you don't like it, do something else. Try and try again. Find out the signal path that works best for you and gives you the sound that you actually enjoy, the absolute best. Ignore all the forms saying, do this first or do that next. Try it out. That's the beautiful thing about what we're doing. It's all experimentation. It's all a bunch of fun. I do start with noise reduction, whether it be actual noise reduction like a noise remover. I will do deplosive, deep breath, any of those things if it's needed. Then I will go into an EQ before compression. Now, I will admit there are plenty of debates online about whether or not the EQ should go before or after the compressor, but here is my mindset and my justification for going EQ into compressor. I am using an AEA KU5A. It is a ribbon microphone. It is very robust in the low end. There is a crap load of low end information. If I run that into a compressor without EQing anything, the bass frequencies are going to be very overpowering, and the bass frequencies are going to get super duper compressed. That may be something that you're looking for, but it also may make it sound unnatural. So my approach is I will go ahead and EQ out all of those frequencies that I think are unnecessary, then run it into a compressor to ensure that information that I don't even want in the recording is not leading to unnecessary compression. And then lastly, I will go into normalization. I will have a bus compressor because I do have the voice, I have the music as well, and I want it kind of glued together a little bit, but I don't do too much with the bus compressor. And then I finally run it into Auphonic to level it to -16 LUFS, but probably not the best normalization out there, but that is my approach. And to wrap up the topic of the signal path, the only advice I have here on whether you should do EQ before or after is try out both. Try out both, see which one you like the sound of best, see if you like compressing based on information that you're going to cut out anyways, or if you like cutting out those frequencies that you don't want and then compressing, and then hey, you can also add an EQ after the compressor and shape it a little bit more because a lot of compressors do add some coloration, do add some character to it. So play around with it because that is the beautiful thing about what we're doing recording digitally. We are not committing anything to tape. We can go in, play around with it as much as we want, screw around with all the settings, the order of operations, and it's not finalized until we publish the dang thing. It is incredible that we have that ability. So that's my take on the processing order. I hope that provided you some insight. And I do very briefly want to discuss what you closed the voice submission with. I do agree that politics are a terrible topic area for a tech podcast, a creator podcast to get into. Sometimes I can't help myself, especially when somebody says that I don't believe in freedom of speech. That really ticked me off, and I probably spent way too much time yelling at the guy on the podcast. Not the best look. I am fully aware that really, really bothered me. First, I will say I respect everything that you said, and I agree for the most part. All I will say on this topic is I think that there are different definitions of terms depending on the side of the political aisle that you fall down upon. And I think that is where a lot of the contention in current political discourse stems from. I think having a common language and a common understanding of what each other are saying is incredibly important, especially in the political realm, and that's something that seems to be lacking nowadays. For a very simple example, I will say equality is important. I think regardless of the political aisle that you are in, you would agree with that. But where the contention comes in is there are two separate definitions of equality. There is the definition of equality of opportunity and the equality of outcome. Two very different definitions and two very different worldviews based on the political aisle that you fall down on. And I think that is where a lot of the issues are. And there needs to be some kind of actual agreement on what these terms are. And then we can start to mend what's going on right now. Because right now, people are yelling, you don't believe in equality. And then the other group is saying, yeah, I do. You don't believe in equality. Yeah, I do. I agree in equality. But then they don't really discuss, well, what do you mean by equality? What do you mean? And then they don't discuss how they can meet in the middle. There's no... That's all. I'm not going to go any deeper into that, but I think that is where a lot of the issues are. But Ian, thank you so much for the great question. Please stay safe out there, and thank you very much, my friend. You sound wonderful. Hopefully the order of operations for processing helped you out. Lastly, we got a video submission from the eldest boy. Take it away, eldest.
Greetings, Bandrew. It's the eldest bro here, and I have a question for you. So my question is, outside of getting the microphone physically closer to your face, and, among the other basic things, what would you do to help mitigate reverb in a very reverberant room, like the one I am right now? What I'm currently trying to do to okay success is I have a moving blanket below me, and then some audio panels behind the camera to hopefully try and catch most of the reverberation going that way. Because there's a whole nother room back that way. There's a whole bunch of space back that way. And it just creates a very reverberant room because the floors are also hardwood and tile. And there's no really other place I can record in this place because all the other rooms are full of stuff. So that's my question, Bandrew. What would you recommend doing to help mitigate reverb outside, like getting the microphone physically closer? Can't wait to hear what you had to say. See ya!
Eldest bro, thank you so much for the video submission. I appreciate so damn much. And how do you mitigate reverb in a very reverberant room without getting the microphone closer to your mouth? I think having the moving blanket on the ground is a great start, especially because it is hardwood, and that just reflects and bounces the audio right back up into the microphone. But another step that you could take is ensuring that you're not up against a wall, because that will mean that your voice, when it hits the wall, is going to be much quieter, making the reverb, the bounce back of your voice, much quieter as well. So getting farther away from the walls is extremely beneficial in decreasing the reverberations. Also, if you can make some kind of baffles using a T-stand or a C-stand, I don't know what they're called, some kind of stand, put a moving blanket over that, and then you have some makeshift baffles. Put one of those baffles behind the camera right in the direction that you're talking so that captures a bit of your voice, and then if you're able to, put some baffles off to the sides of you so they are capturing your voice going out this direction, and it limits the amount of noise going out to the sides of you. Of course, you will want to do this out of frame of the camera if you're looking for a pretty looking shot. That is my take on it, but there is Sound Speeds. Go check out Sound Speeds. He did an entire video on building makeshift baffles out of moving blankets using a bunch of stands. I can't remember what it's called. Alan, Sound Speeds, link it in the comments because, eldest, I'm sure you've watched it, but to anybody else interested, go check the comments on YouTube. Alan aka Sound Speeds. We'll most likely link it down there and you can check that out. But regardless of that, Eldest, thank you so much for sending in that question. I appreciate you so dang much. I hope you're enjoying your current adventure. I will put it that way. And I think that is actually going to wrap up for today's episode of the BSP. Thank you all so much for stopping by. If you have any questions, askbandrew.com. Go send in an audio, a video, or an email. And until next week, please stay safe. I can't talk. Please. No, I can't even close out the podcast episode. I'm losing it, man. I got my hair cut, and I think all my ability to speak is just left in my hair. The hair is gone, and it feels amazing. Until next week, please stay safe. Have an amazing Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Next Sunday, I will talk at you. I love you. I will talk to you then. Bye-bye.
This has been a Geeks Rising production. Your executive producer is Bandrew Scott. For more information, head over to www.geeksrising.com.